Hi, everyone. Welcome to Beacons of Balance. I'm Arlene, my co-host, beautiful co-host Joanne, and we have Alan Steinfeld here, who I'll introduce shortly. Join us every Wednesday. We share insights to help bring balance into these crazy, chaotic lives that we're living. So, Alan Steinfeld, as you see the picture, making contact. We're going to have a very interesting conversation today with Alan. Making contact is a collection of essays from leading researchers and investigators into the UFO, and more known now as the UAF phenomenon. Alan has been the host and producer of a New York City cable program called New Realities for more than over 25 years. Do you believe that? But he's only 40 years old. So, man, he was a baby. He's instrumental with interviewing leaders in all different fields of health, spirituality, and open consciousness. So, Alan, fill us in. Where did you start? I know you've been on this path as the three of us here collectively have been. And I've always, let's face it, we're aliens. We're not from here, people. Think about it. Okay. So they're
Exactly.
talking more and more is out there that contact's gonna happen.
It's happening, Arlene and
Well,
Joanne.
well, we know that, yeah, but
No, it's
talking
happening.
very
New
popular.
Jersey? What's going on in New Jersey? Have you been following that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What
They're
is
not
it?
just mechanical drones, they are plasma and orbs people are seeing in the sky.
Okay.
What's that? That's nothing we have manufactured by humans. Maybe the drones, yes, but they're silent. The reason they're called drones is because they make that droning sound.
Right.
These are silent craft. These are energy beams. These are I mean, they're nothing we know as technology. I mean, some of them are, but there's something very strange going on. So it's happening. Contact is being made as we speak. So
Yes.
start
I was
making
gonna
contact.
ask you about that,
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Go ahead.
the drones and the plasma that they're seeing.
Yeah.
I know Dr. Greer has a theory that it's this rogue military operation. I was wondering what's your take on that?
I think some of it's rogue military or not even rogue. I think because these plasma balls and other types of ships are showing up, the military is sending up these other vehicles to tell people, look, it's nothing. It's just drones. They're not saying they've done it. They've completely denied the fact that they are involved in it, which is, they're appearing over military bases.
Right.
If a Chinese spy balloon or thing would appear over a military base, it would be shot down. These things are not being shot down. So that's the frustrating part about all this. It's not about aliens. Who cares about aliens? I mean, I care about aliens, but really, it is the rogue military interests that are denying not just the American people, but the planet, the 8 billion or 10 billion, I think, at this moment,
Right.
are waiting for this technology that will free them from being enslaved to the fossil fuels which run our world. And do you know the physics of fossil fuel? It began in a way with Newton's second or third law of thermodynamics. You put energy out, you push it forward. So you burn fuel, the burning of the fuel moves cars, airplanes, trains, everything. That's 400-year-old physics. We are way due for an upgrade in our understanding of the physical laws of nature. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing
You know what it's
things.
all about?
What's it all about? Of course, the fossil fuel companies,
They
I
don't
don't even
want.
think they're fossil fuels, actually. That's a whole other discussion.
Mhm.
Yeah, they don't want to give up their grip
But how
on
crazy, even with our health industry, pharmacology, come on. I mean, you can
Mhm.
make money on wellness, just
or
shift over.
sickness for that matter,
Well,
Thank
sickness is
goodness.
being made,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they probably don't want us to stay well to live as long because they want us off the planet.
No, you think you're right, Arlene. They would make more money on wellness because everyone's concerned with that. So, but it's an old paradigm. It's an old way of thinking. You know, I don't want to get political, and I don't like Donald Trump, but he is a home wrecker. So maybe he will bring in something new that hasn't been in government before. I mean, that's the best we can hope for, given his record.
As they always say, there's a reason for everything, and this show's about balance. We're in a
Yes.
planet of duality. I mean, that hasn't changed. It's not going to change. So there's something about up, down, black, white. So it's always going
Right.
to be that way, and we're about finding it right in the middle of getting through this life here that we're
Right.
existing
And
in.
you never know, with Elon Musk coming in, who knows where it could go, right?
Well, he'll probably
Well,
push it
exactly.
out, but, you know.
I mean,
He's a
he'll think
genius.
outside the
I
box.
mean, I don't know what to make of him, because he says there are no aliens. He says if there were aliens, he would know about it. But you know what? This is the best held secret of the century. I mean, even the
reality
Kennedy
is-
assassination, which was awful, still has secrets, but this is even bigger than that. This is about balance. You know the macrobiotics saying, the bigger the front, the bigger the back. Do you know about macrobiotics? That means the bigger the lie, the more there is to lie about. This is a huge lie that's been going on since 1947, at least, maybe older. But what is the lie? It's not just, hey, we have company. It's big, and I don't think we even know how big this is, but it is huge. The bigger the front, the bigger the back, Arlene.
Right.
Oh, I totally know. We're on the same page with all of this.
Yeah.
The thing that I have that I'm thinking about, and one thing that Greer brought up, because we listen to different ones, and not that I believe all or whatever.
Right.
He did bring up a point though, that if they come in, the whatever, and land, I don't know how it would be exposed to us. Maybe they just land on the White House lawn. Who the hell knows? But there would be mass hysteria.
I don't think so. I don't think we have to support that. No, I mean, are you hysterical now?
No, I mean, you and I, all of us, we'd be like, oh, hey, man, come on, where are they,
I don't think there'd be, I mean, and even if there was, that's, it's a rude awakening, right, Joanne? These people are waking up to
We've
the
been
fact.
held down so long through
Yes.
religious teachings, and we're all put in these little tiny boxes. This is the way it's
Exactly.
supposed to be. And I personally believe that these other realities, these other beings are here to show us that, you know what, you guys are way more powerful than you realize.
Well,
Exactly.
but don't you feel through history, through revolutions, everything that goes through a cycle. So
Well-
we've been kept down, then everybody, the middleman revolts, and then we live so many years like, okay, now this is peace. It's like, okay. And then it happens again, and then we revolt.
Well, we're in revolting times
Yeah,
here.
we are. We are.
And it's the artist, Joanne, that's going to save the world, because the artist thinks outside the box. Terrence McKenna said, if the artist can't save the world, then no one can, because the artists are the ones available for new visions of reality. And that's why we need, once we get off of the addiction to fossil fuel, everyone's job is to be an artist of their own creative potential.
We were always the weirdos.
Yes, we're the weirdos, but there's a great book called The Long Revolution by Raymond Williams. He was a social critic. He says, artists, the long revolution is how artists come along, they make a change, and then it takes a long time for the establishment to recognize and accept the new ways of seeing. Art is a new way of seeing reality. So I think that's what Marshall McLuhan said. The artist gives us an distant early warning system of what change is about to come, and here we are. We're in a time of huge change. The times they are a-changing.
Right. My guides call it the grand shift.
The grand shift happens, that's my saying. So it's happening.
It always happens.
Don't let the shift hit you in the face. That's what I'm saying.
But our consciousness is raising.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
Yes,
my God, when I see the difference from when I just moved here to Illinois 30 years ago, huge. And the way I can tell is the books that are in the local bookstore.
Well,
Oh,
that's
really? What books are you noticing that are there?
Well, when I first moved here, I was looking for, anything that's out of this world, otherworldly, because that's the way my mind always
You
went.
should have got my
And it
book.
would be all witchcraft and spells.
Right.
And there was nothing on angels or spirituality. Now, fast forward, there's rows and rows and rows of expanding that consciousness, and maybe 3 books on witchcraft. So, like, that's how.
Well, that's really interesting. Thank you for saying that, because I always felt like the witchcraft was occult. It was dark.
That's old
And the
stuff.
new age that came through in the 80s, that was the old age by the end of the 80s. But it is about the light. It's about bringing things to light. It's no
Light.
longer occult or
Right.
hidden. It's time to be out in the open. That's why the UFO secrets are coming out. There's a whistleblower coming forward actually today. If you watch News Nation, this is Saturday, January 18th. I don't know when you're broadcasting this, but there are people inside the government. One of my favorites is Lou Elizondo. I think I have one of his books here. He wrote a book called Imminent.
Yeah, I remember
And it was a New York Times bestseller. And you know what's imminent? The imminent is that we are about to experience a huge shift in our reality,
right.
bigger than anything human civilization has ever known.
Yeah.
Imagine, for thousands of years, we thought we were all alone in the universe. We thought life was an anomaly, an accident. This is Darwinian thinking, like, and mechanistic science, materialistic science, that, we don't know how life began. It just happened.
Yeah.
But now we think or feel, especially going out into space, Webb telescope, that life is an emergent property. It emerges out of the cosmos. It appears. It's not an accident. We don't live in a dead universe. That's what the mechanistic scientists want you to think.
Right.
That consciousness is just an epiphenomena of the brain, which doesn't make sense at all, because it's like, the brain's like the hardware. You can open up the hardware like a radio, and you're not going to find the Beatles playing their music inside that little box. That's my favorite band. But we are receivers. That's the thing.
We're
Yeah.
receivers.
So that's my feeling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Does
like
that make-
Joanne said, when I started, I opened my store, which I had you probably don't know, I had an angel business for 10 years in Connecticut.
What's an angel business? Were you hiring them out to make house calls?
It was a place I was guided by the angels. People could call them whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But they guided me to open this, and they said it would be a place of love. I didn't care what anybody was, what religion, it was anything about religion. Although
Where was it?
in Milford, Connecticut. All
Oh.
walks, that first year, Alan, all walks
I-
of religions came through my store, including satanic and demonics. But the ones that couldn't hold the light, what was interesting? They'd walk in and they would bounce out. They couldn't escape.
Was it the Angel Co-op? Was that what it? No.
I started in 94, almost 95.
What was it called? Your angel store?
My first one, it was called Angel's Coffee. It was a coffee and tea room also.
Okay.
Angel's Coffee and Tea Room, a celestial gathering place. And I
Okay.
in 5 years, I went from 850 square feet to a 3,000 square foot building. And
Okay.
practitioners, I opened up like what they have now, different treatments with massage therapists, the cafe, everything involved. It was amazing. And I used to hold circles every week, to make contact, whatever, healing and that. And I would give, talks, I would facilitate. And I used to say, stuff would come through me. I would say, the masks are going to come off and everybody's going to be seen for who they are. Now, that was 25 freaking years ago. I thought it was going to be the following year, 6 months.
Right.
And I'm looking
Right.
at it now and I'm going, holy crap. Joanna, we've been on this path, as you have also. We've been talking the talk about this, exhausted, for so many years. And now it's like, which is great. It's like coming full circle, and everybody's da-da-da-da-da, like it's new, and I'm like, it wasn't even new when we were talking about it, you know? But to her
Mhm.
point, like Joanne was saying, when I looked for my bookshelf to bring in books on
Mhm.
angels, spiritual, there were like 4 things, you know? Now it's
Right.
a plethora. It's an open, book out there.
Exactly. It
On
Yeah.
is
near-death
worldwide.
experience everything. People are fascinated with NDEs, and it does change people after an NDE because we're electromagnetic fields, and it changes us.
Exactly. No, this is why the UFOs are showing up now because there's a vibratory change, just like both of you've noticed with the books. That is a vibrational shift. People are waking up. And so that's evident. When I went into my first Whole Foods in Dallas, Texas, where it started, I said, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if there were one of these in every city? And there you have it. So that's another level of awareness. Yoga, acupuncture, these alternatives are now much more accepted, mainstream. Everyone's
Oh,
aware of
look at
them.
the first thing I remember going to ear, nose, throat doctors, remember? In the neti pot. I mean, they would look at you and laugh, but now it's like they talk about it and say to use as part of the treatment program. So there you go. There you go.
No,
Nothing.
there we go. We're changing. The world is changing. So and ETs are the next big shift because the government's not going to tell us. It's up to us to realize that we're not alone in the universe. We have to demand the truth, but also more and more people are having experiences. I interview a lot of people in this field, and I talk to an investigator in China where you're not allowed to talk about this, but she had like a kind of underground network where people were coming out and they are having experiences all over China. She actually ended up leaving China because she was being threatened because of her investigations. But it is worldwide. This is not an American phenomenon. I mean,
No,
it's being
exactly. But what I was going to ask you also is like, okay, so we're squelching it here, but that's what I was going to ask you. How about the other countries? Because we're not the only ones.
the
Oh,
same.
squelch.
Governments, in my opinion, about controlling people. And
Of
when you
course.
tell them, look, we're not in control because we don't know what's going on here,
Right.
you can't manipulate the population. So all governments, in a say, are fundamentalists. They want to control the people. If you didn't want to control the people, there wouldn't be any countries to begin with.
Right.
There'll be cultural differences, I mean, that's why I love the John Lennon song, Imagine. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine no countries. Imagine no religions. It's
Yeah.
easy if you try. No
They were
hell below
so
us.
ahead of their time. Oh
Okay,
my
Al,
God.
bring out the guitar.
Yes. Well, I'm not a singer, but I do relate to that song as an anthem of possibilities and a visionary.
We are also. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
are.
here
We
we
are.
are in a new time. We have to let go, Joanne, of everything you've known and embrace
Exactly.
everything you don't know. Are you ready? All
Hell,
right, then
I was
start
ready at
paint.
5 years old. Are you kidding?
Then start painting. No, keep
I was the
going.
one I told my mom at 5 years old, I'm gonna be a world famous painter.
You
All right.
should.
I knew my role. I
All
did.
right. Here we go. Here's your all
So,
right,
and I
let's
ran
go for it.
Lightworkers Conference for 25 years where I brought speakers from all over the world to enlighten
Which
people.
conference was that?
That was I created that. Lightwork.
Where? How come
Well, it
I
was always in the Chicago area.
how come I wasn't invited? No.
I didn't know you'd
There's
be.
so many people out there.
There's a million people, but my passion was to bring people in to
Yeah.
expand the mind.
That's what the UFOs are doing. It's really about vibration. It's really about mind expansion. It's
Right.
not like, oh, there's these other beings on other planets and you're going to sit down and have coffee with them.
Yeah.
No, it's not about that. It's about change. I mean, I think it's awful what's happening in California, but
It's
no,
an
I'm not saying it's
awakening.
good. It's an awakening for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and it's awful, but there's a huge change coming, and
Well, that's not gonna be the end of it because it's gonna be happening all over. Going back to though, and I'm not fear-based, but I'm saying when contact when they appear, whatever way it is, since all governments around the world want to control, this is the point I'm trying to make. So if they come in, wouldn't the governments then try to squelch it and say, okay, people, we're going to keep you safe? Because
Yeah, it's too late though, I think, for that. The drone incursions over New Jersey and worldwide, the government may come in and say that, but it's too late for that now. I think too many people, and if you read my book, too many people are getting wind of the fact that this exists. It's beyond government. I was just in Washington, D.C., went to the congressional hearings on November was 13th. They had big congressional hearings with insiders sitting in front of members of Congress saying, yes, this is real. Yes, we don't know what it is. And the people who were asking, the congressional representatives were asking questions. Finally, you could sense it. They got the awareness, oh, there's something beyond our government. It was really palpable. I mean, what do you mean there are things here? I mean, it was a rude awakening, and yes, if they land on the White House lawn, which I don't think they will, because there's no one to talk to there. It is a people's movement. This is about us. It's about giving power back to who we are as representatives of the divine force of the all government and military are interested is how can we make weapons from this technology. And you know what? I don't think they're interested in giving us information on how to make weapons. That's why there's a lot of UFOs over nuclear missile silos. The first was in Montana at Maelstrom Air Force. It was ICBMs, intergalactic nuclear missiles that were housed there, and these UFOs shut off the access to them as a demonstration. It went back on. This is 1967. Guy Michael Sala, Robert Salas. No, Robert Salas. Can testify. He has testified at Stephen Greer's disclosure hearings. So they don't want us using nuclear weapons for sure, because according to Linda Moulton Howe, who writes a chapter, nuclear weapons rip a hole in time-space, and it's not just upsetting our equilibrium, balance, whatever you want to call your show. It bleeds through to other dimensions. It bleeds through. It upsets the balance, Arlene, in other dimensions. So you have a big show on your hands here because you're reaching out to other dimensions. No, it does. Nuclear energy is not good for any. Not nuclear bombs anyway is not good for anybody. So
speaking of Montana, my
yes.
son went to University of Montana in Missoula,
Mhm.
and there was a thing where you climbed this one. It was called climbing the M. It was a big mountain, and he was up there with a friend, and a UFO came over him, hovered over him, and was scanning him. And he says right after that, for months, almost a year later, he said it was almost like someone expanded my bandwidth. Where he
Wow.
knew something was gonna happen long before it would happen.
See,
And I was just wondering.
that's amazing. That's going to happen to all of us. That actually is happening to all of us.
Yeah.
It is. You're right. Thanks for mentioning that. These things, whatever they are expanding our bandwidth. It's making us more psychic, more sensitive, more aware. What mountain was your son on?
It's called Climbing the M. It's right by the University of Montana, Missoula, Montana. There's a big mountain. There's a big white M. You could find it. Just Google it.
I mean,
But the kids would always
what year
climb
was
the M.
that?
But a lot of activity happens on that mountain. Let me tell you.
Really? What year was he there that happened?
That would have been 99, 2000.
Okay, climbing
Climbing the M in Missoula. It's a mountain with a big white M. And kids would just go up there to just meditate or do whatever. And that's where a lot of the sightings would happen.
Is it a hard mountain to climb?
No, it's a grassy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I have an old friend from elementary school living in Montana. She actually invited me to go out there and speak. She lives in Big Sky, Montana. You know,
Big Sky. That's where my friend lives too.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I might go out there to do a lecture in
Pretty
Montana
cool.
if I ever hear from her. So,
But there was
and-
another thing that I wanted to share with you. My
yes.
son's friend, Brian, who lives in Wisconsin, they're dairy farmers, and they have an underground home where they have the goats eat the grass off of the roof. I don't know if you've ever seen underground homes, but he would get all the time, he would get visits by the Greys. They would come into the house, and Brian is one of these, he's not afraid of anything. He would follow them around the house like a curious.
Really? Wow.
And the Greys would give him some kind of, he said it would look like a machine. It was nothing from this world, for him to hold it just so that he would like let them alone and do what they needed to do.
And where in Wisconsin that was happening?
That was in Wisconsin.
Did he take pictures of anybody?
I never asked him if he ever took pictures.
He should have posed with it. So the Greys would come in there into his house doing
yeah,
what? For what reason, though? Why would they come in?
Well, that's what he was trying to figure out.
Well, you know what I think happened is they would come in, put him unconscious, do what they ever do to people, which is extract genetic information, and then bring him through back as if nothing had happened. That happens a lot of times where
Now, interestingly,
black out.
his father was a dairy farmer, and he lived near Brian, but he had a much worse experience. He went through all the probing, the testing, and he was so traumatized.
That probably happened to Brian. Maybe not, but he just doesn't remember it.
True. But the father was so traumatized, he refused to talk to anybody about it.
Really? Well, now it's all coming out. Read Whitley Strieber's new book. Whitley Strieber is one of the first people to write about the probes and all that.
Yeah.
He's he's probably the most expert witness in the field.
His book has a picture of a gray on the cover, right?
Yes, it does. It's called
I know which book.
Communion. Yes, that's a great book. Arlene, you want to be abducted? Read that book, okay?
No,
We don't want to be abducted.
I probably was one of the abducted people.
I'm kidding. You don't have to be abducted. No, we're already abducted, all of us.
When I was born, I was checking out. So I had my NDN when I was born.
Well, check in. It's time to check in.
I used to have deja vu as a kid every day.
Every day was like every other day.
Every day I'd have deja. And this is the 50s. Who the hell are you going to talk about to it then? You never go up to your parents and say, guess what? I just thought, okay, you're weird. I was just weird.
Well, you were vibrating at those higher levels. You were advancing.
It always has been. It's always been, putting the round into the square peg.
Oh, Alan, I'm just curious, your take on the Greys. Do you think they are benevolent or malevolent?
Well, those are human terms, good and bad, evil, I think that it's a little complex, but I think they're taking our genetics because they've reached the end of their evolution. So they hit a dead wall. They bred themselves into pure intellect and forgot feelings. And they realized that's a dead end. That doesn't get you anywhere if you're pure intellect. So they're coming back here to take our genetics, mix it with their genetics to create these hybrid races. Your friend in Wisconsin, the one who's walking, he may be a hybrid. So maybe they weren't abducting him. Maybe they're just checking him out, make sure his hybridization was going fine. So in exchange, I think for our genetics, they are upgrading us vibrationally. So yeah, they're after what they want for themselves, but we're also benefiting because we've been exposed to a bigger consciousness. We're aware of more happening, and so it's not good or bad. I mean, yes, they're not asking our permission to come and take us out of it's traumatizing. Imagine your doors are locked, your windows are closed, you're sleeping alone there in your little bed, and suddenly someone's in the room. Forget them being aliens. That is enough to traumatize people. But then you see these really weird looking beings. Most people can't even stay conscious in the process. So their bedside manners are not very expert.
Yeah.
So, but yet it's happening. We're being upgraded, like the guy said, and human race as a whole needs this upgrade because we're very barbaric. I think they follow generations. I think it goes back to in my book. You can read about it, chapter 7. It goes back at least to the last century, where they abduct, let's say, your grandmother, then your mother, then you. But every generation, they're modifying your genetic input. So when it reaches like us or next generation, they can easier splice the genetic material together because there's been upgrades all
Alan,
along the way.
that's beautiful. You need to write a book on this. This is why our families.
It is in my book.
This is why no, a book specifically. This is why are our families so dysfunctional, and that we're with people we're like, where the hell did they come from? I'm not part of them.
Exactly. Why are families this?
You hit the nail. Oh, there's a solution. He hit the nail on the head. There
Well,
you go,
what's
Joe.
the solution, though, Arlene? What is the
Not the
solution?
solution, the understanding of what it is.
It is. It is. Don't you feel different than the rest of your family?
Duh. Yeah.
You're a starseed.
I don't know what the hell I am. I really don't.
You're a starseed.
Don't care. I'm here. My middle name is always FUN.
FUN. Does that stand for anything? I thought it was abbreviation.
We won't go there.
I thought you were cursing.
No, when I met my current husband, I said my middle name. We met, through dating site. And I said my middle name is F, and his eyes went. I said FUN, and I said if you're not FUN, I don't want to know you.
So
And
Alan,
I guess you will. Okay, what else, Joanne? What else?
I am really. I mean, I could talk to you for 20 hours. I have a million.
All right, we can talk for.
Now I know you teach remote viewing.
I do.
I took it years ago, but have you ever used it as far as working with these other beings?
Well, yeah, I have a remote viewing class coming up with you learn the basics of remote viewing, so you could see beyond time and space. You could see, and then we go off planet. So the class has to be like fine tuned, so we're all get the same answers to the remote viewing targets, and then when we go off planet, we see if we're getting the same visions of these other worlds and these other beings together. Then there's no way to prove it. The good thing about knowing what your target is, you can say, oh, this is right. But when we go off planet and you have an agreement, then maybe we're all going to the same place. So I do use it. And actually, not just me, the military uses this to train people when UFOs appear. They remote view the UFOs and see who's in it. This has been confirmed by insiders.
So I knew one of those remote viewers that worked
Is it-
for the military.
Are you going to
Who's
say
that?
Was that Tom
I
Brown?
can't mention his name,
Oh, come on.
but off air, I'll look it up.
right.
But they would put him in a room for 8 hours straight in a dark room, and they would give him a little nut or a bolt, and he would know if it was from a Russian MiG or not. It was really interesting. But he also would have a lot of alien visits, where he would have chips planted in his nose. His young daughter woke up with a bloody nose, had a chip in her. Very interesting stuff. It gets
Joanne,
deep.
How about Joanne? How about, was it Tom Brown? Who was he? I mean, he's gone now.
Tom Brown.
Remember the
Who?
person he was repairing his truck and the
Oh, yeah,
driveway collapsed?
yeah. I was with him in New
That Tom
York.
Brown?
Yeah, I forget.
But he used
What about him, though?
he went
Yeah, what
out.
about-
Remember, he went out to when there was military operations, and he turned into.
Oh, yeah.
He was like ahead of the thing. And he stopped.
Yeah, he would view a lot of things that were happening with the government.
I'd like to meet people like that. If you,
Well, come in our circle, Alan.
when is your circle?
Always.
whenever we feel like it.
All right, I'm there.
Okay, we'll
I'm
keep
there.
you posted. Listen, I just want to ask you also, because you had your episode in the 90s, right? 1997.
87.
87. Okay, yeah. So is that what heightened you and opened you to delve into this?
it not only high and open, it sucked me down the rabbit hole where I became obsessed with the subject. It's like something happened to me and I need to know everything I can about it because I had a mark on my leg. I had this vague feeling. It was the 4-pronged puncture mark at the back of my knee.
Wow.
So maybe it was a spider. I don't think so. I got confirmed by other people I talked to in the UFO field that were telling me that this is what other abductees had on their bodies too. But anyway, getting back to your theme of your show and what it has to do with ETs is that the world's so out of balance that we need this outside agency to come in and balance the fact that we are so out of touch with the earth and ourselves and why we're really here. We're not here to make a lot of money. We're here to live in harmony with each other and the planet. So these ETs have given us enough time to try to get our act together, and we have not. So they say, we're going to save those people from themselves, really. And
I'm ready.
this is the time.
I can't wait for him to come in and part of my French folks there and say, "What the did you guys do? What the hell?"
They're already here. They're already saying that.
I know they're here. They're mixed in. Listen, Joanne and I were on a flight to Florida, and this was like what the '90s, Joanne, right? And we're sitting next to each other, and this man walks by, tall, lanky. His skin was when I say transparent, it looked like cellophane was pulled over, right?
Yeah.
Her and
That
I,
was freaky.
we didn't even talk. We were sitting there, and all we did is we turned to each other. We went, "What the hell?" So there you go. So they are.
There you go. No, this
were-
is an important time in history for your listeners.
Yes.
Time where we have to realize that we're not alone. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. Like that old saying by, I think, Plato, the Greek philosopher, says, dogs also bark at what they don't know. We're
Right.
not animals. We're here to welcome the unknown. I don't think they're negative, really, because if they wanted to take over the planet, they would have done it a long time ago. And who knows, maybe they have and we just haven't noticed, but I don't think so. I think they're here to help us evolve to the next level of vibrational frequencies and come have a world that works for everyone. That's what I really feel.
I mean, there's so much out there that is a mystery that hasn't been explained, can't be explained. When I look at you look at the pyramids. When I go to New York, it's interesting. Metropolitan, the Egyptian area, and you see the sculptures and everything of the gods back then. I mean, their heads they look like, but their heads are oblong, this, and their eyes are slanted, right? I mean,
Right.
pyramids. How could you explain that? I don't believe it's a bunch of slaves that lifted those stones. They're too precision. How the hell could you do that? I always said it had to be alien intervention, but who knows?
No, I think it was. I think the pyramids were built by aliens. We
Well,
don't have no.
they say the intelligences in other lifetimes were so much high more advanced than us, like Atlantis and all.
No,
Mm.
I don't believe that. Atlantis
Oh,
destroyed itself. We've evolved since those times. So I
mhm.
think human intelligence is expanding. I don't think it's higher than it's been. I think we had help in past centuries, millennials,
Okay.
when so we're
Well,
coming to a time where our intelligence is expanding.
well, it's true because even in the Bible, the Bible, people back then they would see they were more open to communicating and seeing spirit and everything. They would talk about it, and even they had. How would they explain that a chariot of fire came in and helped them? I think it was alien spacecraft, but how would they describe it? Their mode of transportation back then was a chariot and it had
They
fire behind,
describe it as exactly. So
right? So
people
they described
describe.
it as that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the same thing here. We're trying to describe things as drones because that's all we know, but they're not drones.
Yeah.
They're every generation describes the world from that they know, but we're being upgraded right now, right as we speak, and it's a very exciting time. I think this year is going to bring in a confirmation, and it's not going to affect the common person. Yeah, I don't know why people go into a panic. like the serfs in Copernicus's time when they found out the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, like, all right, let's go to work, whatever. So
I
same
think,
thing
well,
here.
you're exactly right, and people are feeling this. Everybody's talking about it. Everyone. There's always on the tip of everybody's tongue. I don't care what age you are, and people are feeling. I don't know about you, feeling it physically. I'm feeling
Feeling what physically?
being pulled, being like electrically changed.
Well, you're very sensitive. Yeah.
I am ultra sensitive. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think most light workers are sensitive to energies and
Yes, that's true.
vibration.
That is the evolution that the ETs were looking for a majority of us to be here at this time to ground the coming galactic age, if you want to call it that.
I would
Yeah.
like to share with our audiences also, look it up, Carl Sagan's, when he talks about the little blue marble, and just listen to his.
Yeah, but Carl Sagan was a big anti-UFO person.
Well, I'm not talking
He
about
was
that. He's just,
awful.
I know, but what I'm talking about is how he explains this little blue marble. And it's a very sobering piece to listen to and actually to watch, because you see this little speck out in the hole, and we think we're it. That's what the part what I'm trying to make is
We think we're it,
we
yes,
think we're
and
it, and it's more than it. It's more than us. And also, I'd like to share with everyone, if they want to try to hear something, go back to our site on Beacons of Balance, look up the videos, and there's on August 7th, I do a prayer meditation the first Wednesday of each month. And it's episode 40, and about, if y'all want to listen to the whole thing, go to the timestamp. It's at 11:11. There's a voice there you could hear. There's there's a bleep there. And also the other one I was talking to Alan about earlier, it's September 4th. I forget which episode that was, but a timestamp at 9:30 and 10:03. Those two places you'll hear. So listen, folks, see what you hear. Elito's
but that's what this time is about. It's not just about aliens, it's about all sorts of metaphysical, paranormal sort of interactions that we're opening up to. So it's a lot of things coming down. ETs included, but elves, spirit beings, everyone's talking about dragons. I mean, it is a whole uncovering of another world that we're moving into here. So
Just look at what happened at Harry Potter. They tried to
we're
stop
moving
that.
into Harry Potter's time, which is why those books were so popular, because
it
Crystals
resonates
and
with people.
it resonated and it
Resonated.
prepared them for something else. It prepared them for the times they are
Prepared them
changing.
for our new realities.
a new
It
reality.
prepared them
Even art is
exactly
changing.
for
And
new
balance,
realities. It
balancing.
did prepare them for new realities.
Folks, get Alan's book, Making Contact.
And watch my show, New Realities.
New
because
everything, Alan will have everything listed below.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any final questions for your audience?
Wow.
Oh, yes. So the show's about balance, beacons of balance. What do you do, Alan, personally in your own life with this crazy times and everything we're going through to bring yourself in balance?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I try to eat good food. I never eat sweets. I don't drink coffee. I never, ever touch alcohol or marijuana or anything. I think the last time I had alcohol was like last New Year's, not the one that just happened, but the one before. I had a sip of champagne and it was completely thrown off for days from a sip of champagne. It just, so that's me. Other people, if they want to drink or do whatever they want, that's totally up to them. But I go way out of balance if I do any of those things, because I like to be as conscious as and aware as possible. So I'm even, aware in my dreams. I try to bring that awareness in, and that actually does balance me. The more I can start to be in those altered states of consciousness, then the more I can deal with this world. It's just that kind of inner and outer balance that we'll have. So thank you for asking that, Arlene.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
Whatever can raise your frequencies now, just do it. Be it nutrition.
Exactly. We're just do it.
Just do it.
Just
Right.
do it.
Exactly.
And I want to end with on this note is with all of this being said, and we're here to expand our minds to in the realm of possibilities. All I say, I'm old enough now to say never say never. Never
right.
say never. And the other thing I want to end with is life is a mystery.
It is.
Yes.
I've
It's a
watched
mystery,
so many people
not to be solved, but to be lived, as Joseph Campbell would say.
live.
It's a mystery not to be solved, but to be lived.
So many
I
of these
love that quote.
spiritual scientists, like I watch, I follow Greg Braden. I've known him from when he started, and I've listened to him recently. And he, at an end of conclusion of his talk, he goes, "It's a mystery. We don't, we know so much, and then there's still a mystery to it." So,
Well, that's it. But the mystery's just gotten bigger with the appearance of these others. So, just when you thought you knew the mystery has shifted.
right.
New mystery.
So
And
now,
you've got to
story.
keep an open mind. We've been kept in boxes far, far too long.
Exactly. Well, that's what artists do.
nobody puts baby in the corner. No, we're not.
All right. Well, thank you for your
Alan,
time here.
Thank
you, Cal.
Thank you for
People can
taking
buy my book at Barnes & Noble, ask for it if they don't have it, and online at Amazon, or me directly. Contact me directly. I'll send you a copy of the book if you pay me.
And also, Alan has wonderful workshops he puts together, and as he talked about, he has his remote viewing classes and that so forth.
At
So
my remote viewing classes, I'm speaking in Sedona on March 14th to the 16th. I don't know when you're going to broadcast this, but I'll be in LA at the Conscious Life Expo. I'll be at the New Living Expo in Northern California. Oh, I'm going to be in Orlando at a conference called the Wisdom of Light Conference. That is February 24th and 25th, Wisdom of Light. So,
Alan, what is your web? Where could folks go to find
New Realities, my website,
Just type in
newrealities.com.
newrealities.com. Okay, we'll have that all below. Listen, thank you everybody for listening. Joanne, love you. Thank you, everyone out there. Please subscribe. Thank you for listening and watching. Get out of here and go into here. Go into your heart space. Listen to it each Wednesday. We're on with new episodes. You could come back. They're archived at Beacons of Balance. Joanne, you want to say anything else?
Just keep an open mind. You're more powerful than you realize.
From our
Exactly.
hearts to yours, remember to be the beautiful beacons of light that you are. Send it out there. We need it desperately, folks. Love you all.
Love you guys.